stars. Nobody said it was easy. Reaching a foreign field for some
Coldplay is one of those bands that I've made fun of for a long time purely because they were an easy target. I knew that this day would come when I would have to swallow my pride, so I'm doing it. I am going to take the next couple weeks, few weeks, however long, and become a Coldplay fan. We'll see how it goes. It's been longer than I wanted it to be since I recorded that intro. I had a few things happen in between. But I have listened to Parachutes and A Rush of Blood to the Head, and I've watched so much just about Coldplay and things. And I'm ready to give my opinion. Alright, look. I listened to Parachutes, and as soon as it freaking started, I was like, shit. God, they're so good. This album is great. I love the vibe of that album. Shiver is gorgeous. I love that song. The drums on it sound amazing, which their drummer, I don't know his name. I have yet to watch stuff of just him, but man, their drummer's good, and I love the sound of his drums. I love it. And Chris Martin's voice is just, it's so good. He's such a good singer and very unique. He's one of those guys, you hear his voice and you're like, I know exactly who this is. This is Chris Martin. Which Coldplay is also kind of one of those bands. You hear it and you're like, this is Coldplay. I listened to Yellow, like it came on this album. And of course, everyone knows that song, but I didn't realize how much of a late 90s sound that song actually has. But I forget how good it is. Man, it's good. It's a good album. It's already happening. I'm already turning. I'm one album in. I knew it would happen, but it's happening a lot quicker than I expected. Yellow, the video is the beginning of them doing ridiculously difficult videos. He's singing super fast, and then they set the video to slow motion. It's so cool. It really is. It's such a cool, practical way to make a video. But it's the beginning, and there's more to come. Loved Parachutes. Great album. Great debut. A Rush of Blood to the Head. I really, really enjoyed this album. When I asked some questions on the Coldplay Reddit, this is an album that a lot of people said that if you're into rock, you're going to enjoy, and I see why they said that. Politic is an amazing start to this album. I wouldn't call it upbeat, but it's just a good rocky start to it. It's a good, I could imagine like if you were a fan of Parachutes and you were waiting for this album to come out, as soon as that song starts, I could imagine you just feeling like, yeah, here, we're back. It's like Coldplay coming out and be like, here's more of us. I really, really like In My Place and God Put a Smile Upon Your Face. Just realized that those rhyme. Speaking of, In My Place, I haven't watched any reviews of these albums because I don't until I've already recorded my opinion. In the beginning of that, the drum intro sounds exactly like When the Levee Breaks by Led Zeppelin. So I'm editing this right now, and I just realized that I think those are actually mic'd the same way as well, because it sounds like they're both using area mics and they're not actually the instruments being mic'd in the drum, because it sounds further away. It's just Zeppelin was in a very echoey room, whereas Coldplay was probably in a studio, so it's muted. But yeah, no, it's so similar. It has to have been on purpose, which is totally fine because it sounds really cool in both songs. But even like the rest of the band comes in at the same moment on both songs, so it has to be a tribute. It has to be. I've noticed a few points in this album where I'm like, ooh, that sounds really similar to a classic band, like Daylight. I don't know if I'm thinking more of I Am the Walrus or Tomorrow Never Knows, but it's got that psychedelic Beatles sound. Clocks, huge song. It's one of those songs when I think Coldplay, I think of that song. It was so big that I kind of just wanted to tune it out, but I forget how gorgeous it is, which is how I feel about a lot of Coldplay. Like, it's huge, so I get tired of it because I heard it so much growing up. Can't talk about this album without talking about The Scientist and the video. It's a video I've known about for a long time. Who comes up with the idea for that video? If you don't know, what they did is they filmed the whole thing and then the video is in reverse, but Chris Martin had to learn to sing the damn song backwards. He's literally singing everything backwards. What? Why? That is dedication. That is insane. Like I said on the last album, the drums in this album are amazing. They are produced so well. It's satisfying. I need to watch more videos of their drummer. That will happen tonight. This album is when I really start noticing they're coming into their own. They're really starting to cement their own sound. Yeah, it's making me realize I should have gotten into Coldplay a long time ago. Oh well, I'm doing it now. I'm here. I think I like A Rush of Blood to the Head more than Parachutes. My favorite song so far is definitely Shiver, but I like the album A Rush of Blood to the Head more. I don't think either of these albums are going to be albums that I go back and just listen to a lot. But like, I've added a few of them to my liked on Spotify, so it's happening. I'm already becoming a fan. Being proved wrong very quickly. So we'll see where it goes from here. But these first two albums, my opinion is high already. So I'm probably going to be obsessed by the end of the next two. Well, it's been a little less than a week, and I have listened to X and Y, Viva La Vida or Death and All His Friends. I've watched a lot of interviews and videos about Coldplay and some live performances. X and Y. This album I was really excited for, and I've had a lot of people suggest that I learn how to play Square One, so I know that song already. There are some songs on this that I really like Square One. I really enjoy it. I also really like Talk, and Speed of Sound is really good. And there's just some really interesting sounds on this that I really like. But, I was warned about this by the Coldplay Reddit. It does kind of all sound the same. It's over an hour long, and that's pretty long. And I don't know. As an album, not a huge fan, but it does have some really good songs. Fix You, of course, is huge. Just describing it as all sounding the same, I feel like that's kind of hard on it, just because there are some really good songs in here that I like more than most of the other songs I've heard by Coldplay so far. But I'm an album guy, and I will definitely listen to some of these songs more. I just probably won't be listening to the album anymore on my own. This album does do a few interesting things. It really shows off how good they are at building in a song. They're really good at starting simplistic and minimal and then adding instruments and slowly building it very organically. And I appreciate that a lot. As a drummer and someone who has played a lot of contemporary worship songs, which that's basically all that is, I really appreciate their ability to do it well. I love the concept of the Hardest Part music video, the whole taking old footage and adding them into it. It's really well made, but also it's just a cool idea. I wish more people would do that if you could find something as weird as the footage they found. Also, during this album, I don't know why, YouTube decided I really needed to watch some Keane, which is a band I entirely forgot existed. Other than them being British, is there a connection between Coldplay and Keane that I need to know about? Like, is there something there? Then I listened to Viva La Vida or Death and All His Friends. This album, of course, I think is probably their most well-known. And it's freaking great. And they have so much happening in this album, and I love it. Life in Technicolor is an amazing start to an album. I also like the version that has lyrics, but I really, really enjoy that song. I also really like Violet Hill is really good. Strawberry Swing, fantastic. This, honestly, every song on this album is just really good, and they all work really well together. Viva La Vida, the song, it is the song that every time I would complain about Coldplay before, I would, I'd make fun of them and talk about how, massive they were and how they weren't that good. And then Viva La Vida would play, which, of course, is probably their biggest song and is huge.
Huge.
And I would be like, man, this song is really freaking good. Like, they wrote one of the best songs of all time. It is. Anyone who says it's not is lying to themselves. It's great. Everyone can like it. There's something for everyone in it, which is how I would describe this album. There's something for everyone here. There's a lot of different genres happening. There's a lot of different sounds, a lot of different ideas. And I feel like anyone can enjoy at least one song off of this album. I do think it's their best album I've listened to so far. But I don't think it's my favorite. I think I still like A Rush of Blood to the Head more. It's more my kind of sound. But I do think this is a better album. So, like I said, I watched a lot of videos of interviews with them and them talking on radio shows and talk shows and things like that. And I've kind of got a feel for how they are as people, especially Chris, because he's the front man. He's who they interview. And I really like him. And he just seems super genuine and nice. I want to hang out with him. He seems like a really cool guy to just go get coffee and hang out with, and probably even just go run errands with. I want to hang out with Chris Martin. I've watched some stuff of him like jokingly doing songs with people. And when he does like a joking singing voice, he sounds like Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits. He really does. Also super open about music. Every time he talks about their inspirations and stuff, they're so vast in styles. And there was one interview I watched where he specifically said he's listening to everything, and he named a few artists that have nothing in common. And I love that. I love being open about music. If you couldn't tell from my other videos, I'm a big fan of just finding new music, giving people new music, and being very adventurous in your music. And I really appreciate him for that. That's really cool. I really want to listen to all of their albums before I finish this video, but this video has already taken longer than I want it to. This is the second time I'm filming this segment because my sound messed up on it last time I tried. So, like, it's a few things like that have just set me back. I've got 4 more albums to listen to. I'm going to listen to all 4 in 1 week, so it won't be... I probably won't spend as much time with each one like I have. And also, I was told by the Coldplay Reddit that I have to watch some live performances because that's part of the great part of Coldplay. So I'm going to do that. Right now, I am very much a fan of early 2000s Coldplay. His first 4 albums, they've got my seal of approval. But I know after this is kind of when people started to fall off. So we'll see where I go from here.
All right. So, been about 6 days. And this week,
Nobody said it was easy.
like I said, listened to the last 4 albums that I had left, and it was a lot. It was a lot of Coldplay to take in, a lot of new Coldplay. But like I said, I didn't spend as much time with each of these albums. I listened to most of them one time through, but still going to talk about them. So Milo Xyloto, or Milo Xyloto, not sure which of those is correct. I've heard both pronunciations, but I haven't watched the band actually say it, so I should probably do that. But this album was interesting. There's some really good songs on this album. There are. But as an album, it just kind of felt meh. It's very poppy. Like, literally on my notes, I wrote, it's not their best album. But, like, there's some good songs, like Paradise, solid pop song. I don't love it, but it's like when it's on, it's hard not to just kind of go along with it. You know, it's a good pop song. I remember it being really popular. Charlie Brown is really cool. I like how the end of it sounds like a Charlie Brown song. That's a cool touch. I didn't actually notice that until the second time listening to that song. It's an alright album. It's just nothing special. I think it's one of those that if I listened to it a few times, I'd probably learn to appreciate it more, but it didn't blow me away. Then we have Ghost Stories, and I really liked the vibe of this album. It's pretty chill, and I like it. It's nice. It's more indie than a lot of their other stuff, and I really dug that. Magic is really good. Out of their bigger songs, it's a good song. I really enjoy it every time it comes on. A Sky Full of Stars, though, I will say. That one kind of like... I feel like it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, it just feels out of place. The rest of this album is really chill, like I said. Very mellow. And then that one's almost like a dance song, which I know Avicii helped on that one, which is a cool feature for them. But it just didn't feel like it was part of this album. It just kind of felt out of place. I don't know. That was weird. It's a good album. It's a good album. I really did enjoy that one. And like I said, Magic is really good, honestly. I like that one more than I expected to. So I listen to a lot of different bands, of course, but a lot of the bands that I listen to a lot aren't huge. Like Coldplay. So it's weird for me to listen to these albums and not see a single track under like 25 million streams. Like Ghost Stories, looking at it right now. Oceans has the fewest streams at 36 million. Like, holy cow. And then Sky Full of Stars has 777 million. 777. I listen to a lot of bands that have like, I mean, not even just in the thousands. A lot of them are less than 1,000 streams. Like, it's just so weird to me. A Head Full of Dreams. This was, I kind of feel about this one like I do Milo Xyloto. It's just there. It's very poppy. Great cover art, though. Awesome cover. I really liked Army of One, the first half. Second half kind of, I didn't like that one as much. But the first half is really good of Army of One. I'm not a huge fan of Adventure of a Lifetime, but the guitar fingering and the riff on that, I like that. That video has like 1.2 billion views on YouTube, and that's crazy. That's a lot. It's a lot. This album has my second favorite song called Up and Up on it. Amazing Day has a really, really nice bass line on it. Very nice bass line. But I put this album right there with Milo Xyloto. Both I think I could learn to appreciate more if I listened to them more maybe, but I'm not going to. And then we have the newest album with Everyday Life. Different, of course. Everyone knows that. Chris Martin said he felt like they needed to put it out, which it's a really cool change for them. It's a lot of different styles, lots of different inspirations. A big change in focus for them. It's a lot more socially conscious. It deals with a lot bigger issues than our normal stuff, and that's cool. It deals with a lot bigger issues. I really like the structure of the sunrise and sunset thing of the two different discs. That's really cool. The build in Trouble in Town is beautiful. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's such a nice build. The drums sound amazing on it, but it's climactic and emotional, and oh, it's good. I do think I like the live version from the stream better though, just because I understand the purpose of the talking, but I like hearing the music better, and I like just sitting and savoring the music. Oh, it's so nice. Wonder of the World, Power of the People. I really like the story behind that one because it kind of inspired this album. It was Chris Martin recorded it on his iPhone at their hotel, and instead of recording another studio version, they decided to put that recording on the album, and that's really cool. It's more intimate and it's genuine. I love Arabesque. That might be my favorite song on this album. I think it's right behind the live version of Trouble in Town, but I really like Arabesque. Guns is really good, but also says the F word in it, and it was weird just because I'm listening to Coldplay. And I just heard it and I was like, oh. Which I knew this album had the explicit warning on it, but like, I don't know. It was just shocking because it's Coldplay and I didn't expect it. Most of this album is really good. I think this is, it's definitely in their better half of stuff. It might be in my top 3. That one and Parachutes. They're right there next to each other. But this is the first album of theirs that really made me think. It's the first one that while listening to it, I had to pull up lyrics and read a few things. There's a really, really good interview with Chris and Zane Lowe about this album where he talks about how they came to make it and the meaning of it all and everything. And it was really cool. It makes me appreciate that album more. I know they have another album coming out either this month or next month. And I'm really hoping that the next album has a lot of the influences that this album has. I know this one was supposed to be different for them, but I hope they keep some of that style. I really, really enjoyed this album. It was a good change for them. I've really enjoyed this so far. I think it's pretty obvious where I stand on it all.
All right, so I've spent probably a month and a half on this, and I've consumed a lot of Coldplay. And I started out as someone, like I said, who made fun of Coldplay pretty often. My opinion's definitely changed. So I've realized, like, first of all, they've got some really good music. They've just got some really solid songs. They're good musicians. They've got some good albums. And just, they've put out a good product for a long time. They have crossed a lot of genres. They've had a lot of different sounds, a lot of different topics, a lot of different styles. And they've stayed really successful amidst all of it, despite the hate that they get. But also they're really cool guys. They're really down to earth. They're really genuine. They haven't let the biggest band in the world title go to their heads. Despite how big they are, they're still really cool guys. They care about each other's happiness. They care about the people around them. That last album, Everyday Life, shows that they care about the world and the people who live in it, and they want to do the best that they can to help people. But above all else, the thing that I appreciate the most about these guys, and that I've realized from watching live stuff like Reddit suggested, is that they really care about what music does to people. In interviews, Chris Martin has talked multiple times about the purpose of music, the purpose of live music, and how much he cares about people who come to shows. And that's so apparent. They really do care about the experience of their music. And that is beautiful, because that's what music is all about. It's about taking it in and just enjoying music. And I love that so much. Honestly, I was watching some of their live stuff last night and I teared up because watching the whole band just pouring their hearts out towards this massive group of people, a huge stadium filled with people listening to their music, and making a connection between every single person in that stadium, with the wristbands going along with the music, that they care enough to come up with something like that to make you feel more connected to all of it. Oh my gosh, that is beautiful. They've put out some great music that I will listen to after this, that I wish I would have been listening to before this. Just great guys, great musicians, good music. Yeah, I'm a fan. Would I buy their vinyl? Yes. I would buy a couple different albums on vinyl. Would I buy a t-shirt? Yeah, if I found a cool enough t-shirt for a good enough price, and I'm going to continue listening to their music. I am. I've already added some to my liked on Spotify. I've already added some to other playlists on Spotify. I like it. So if you haven't listened to their stuff, go give it a listen. Go out, listen to something new. Maybe it's something you've heard about that you were skeptical about, or maybe it's something you've never heard of that you've just found randomly on Spotify. Go listen to something new that you haven't listened to before, and be adventurous in music. Go find something that you're gonna fall in love with.